The big news out of this weekend, Max Verstappen returns from injury to finish off the final 2 races of the season. Then, of course, he will leave F1 and head, from what we hear, a mix of racing in WEC and IMSA.
Thanks, Ted, for the update. Max Verstappen going sports car racing, you say?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 Driver Career Mode in what might be our most important race yet, not only of the season, but potentially of our career mode so far. We come in at a 25-point deficit to the championship leader of Aiden Jackson, so it's pretty straightforward common sense. We must beat Aiden Jackson today to go into the season finale in Brazil with a chance to win a championship, and that's all I'm asking for, because we have a very, very luxurious history, let's call it, at Sao Paulo in Brazil. We are always a threat there. We go there, we are usually the fastest car. It's just we have a way around that track better than anybody else here in the career mode. So we're hoping that we can go into that race with an opportunity. That's all I'm asking for at this point now. But unfortunately, we have to get through this Grand Prix right here. China, never really that easy of a Grand Prix weekend for me. I've always kind of struggled here in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And my biggest concern is, well, there's really 2 big concerns. The 2 big concerns are qualifying here in China, as well as straight line speed. The AI just seem to have really, really good straight line speed here in this game that I can't match on track. So it's going to be interesting to see how things happen. But we roll through into qualifying where it was raining, and there is a chance of rain in the Grand Prix as well, which could completely change the complexion of that race. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. But late in Q1, the rain was actually letting up, so it was going to be gone before Q2 had even started. So everybody out on track here making laps right at the end of the session, and immediately you can see my straight line speed struggle. Norris passes me here in qualifying on a wet lap, so that was quite embarrassing. We crossed the line. We're still going to make it through into Q2, but not by much. We end up down in P13, while my teammate of Dragovic there in 4th place. As you see, Joe, Vesti, Sonoda, Gasly, Ocon all out here in Q1, as we are going to set our focus now into Q2, where the track's now dry. The rain is let up, and it's just a normal condition at this point here. And this is where the concern starts to build. Last episode, we missed Q number 3 in Jeddah, and we had a really rough Grand Prix. We still beat Aiden Jackson, which was great. But obviously it didn't put us into a great position still, nonetheless here. Q2 though, putting my lap in now, I'm looking like we're going to probably have to put in 2 laps of racing here to try and get ourselves into Q number 3 in my first lap. I mean, it didn't feel bad, but right here down this long bank straightaway is where I was losing a bunch of time. So through the final turn, down to the start finish line, get that rear wing open, and it's only 14th place. We have to make a second attempt here now as we continue on, and we didn't really find any more time. I didn't feel like I was leaving a lot of time on the table in sector 1 and 2, but we find a little bit here to start sector number 3. Hard on that throttle, 0.3 of a second gain, but we can't really gain anything else down the straightaway, but we would find about 0.4 right there as we give up just about a little bit on the exit of the final turn, but it's not enough. We're going to be out in Q2.
Sorry mate, that's P13.
You hear my reaction, and yeah, we're out. I had nothing left to say the least now. As you see, Max Verstappen will make Q3 in his return from injury this weekend. Kelly Mayer in her return to Connosport down in P11. Her future likely to be decided in the start of next episode. Let's head to the grid.
It's time again then for Formula One in Shanghai. Northwest of the thriving city of over 24 million people is a circuit that first featured in the championship calendar back in 2004. It played host to Formula One's 1000th Grand Prix back in 2019. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles per hour with DRS assistance down the back straight before the cars break into the tight hairpin at turn 14. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. What a great lap from Alexander Albon yesterday. He'll start from pole position. And Aiden Jackson completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Dragovic, Norris, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Doohan, Mayer, Yuri Vips, Golden Boy, Sato, Liam Lawson, Joe, Vesti, Sonoda, Gasly, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. They've been involved in a number of costly incidents lately. That's got to affect their mindset going into this race.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
A lot of work to be done. Let's look at the forecast as well. We'll be starting on Sauce, but look, there is one slot of rain in the final half of the Grand Prix, and it's light. We've seen this before, and it didn't rain, so I don't know what to expect. Let's find out.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
Just about everybody on Sauce except for Piastri, Hamilton, Doohan, Vips, as well as Zhou Guanyu. They all start on the medium compound.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the point.
Okay, mate, not your best track, I know that. We will have to get creative today, so be ready.
Yep, 10-4. I'll be on my toes. Just keep me updated. Ready to roll here now, and no matter what happens today, we'll still be returning to Red Bull next season. Of course, a whole new different look for Red Bull next season, as they will be partnered and powered by Audi, who enters the sport finally for the final season of this F1 23 driver career mode here. As we are ready to roll, we have to beat Aiden Jackson, who starts right up front with his teammate of Alex Albon. Here we go from China. It's going to be lights out, and we're racing from the Chinese Grand Prix. And up front, it's a good start for Alex Albon, who gets away very well. Aiden Jackson down the order already is alongside right now our teammate of Felipe Drugovich, the two Mercedes of Russell, and as well as Lando Norris out in front right now, and rumor has it one of them as well could be on the way out from Mercedes at the end of this season, but that's not something we're going to find out till probably the off season here. Now, as you can see, Jackson's able to get Drugovich. I'm diving it up 3 wide. Here's as well Doohan in the middle. Hamilton on the left side will get past Doohan. Hamilton will stay ahead, but we get into P10, so P13 to P10. Not a terrible start. Would have definitely liked to have more on that start, but just wasn't quite able to get after it. Up ahead, you can see Max Verstappen in his return from injury going wheel to wheel right there with Charles Leclerc. As you guys know, both him and Hamilton calling it F1 careers at the end of this season. We know one driver now that's going to Ferrari. It's Alex Albon, but the next one is between really Callie Mayer as well as Yuri Vips. Who's going to get that ride? And I think these next 2 races and how both those drivers do, as their cars are pretty well equal now. The Connor Sport and as well as the Lotus are basically equal in R&D now, so we'll wait and see what happens between those 2 drivers as they're kind of in a face-off here. 3 wide, Verstappen in the middle, really getting after it with Hamilton and Piastri as well. We're going to go to the right side now, but this is not what I want to see, of course, when we're trying to work our way forward. We'll slip up the inside of Piastri at the end of lap 1. Another driver that sounds like he could be on the way out as well at Trackhouse Racing. There was so much things to really uncover here. In going into next episode, we'll get a bit of an insight of what's going on with the silly season, but the off season, of course, that's where we'll get a lot of the big updates and whatnot going into the final season. You see Mark giving me an update there on the screen on the bottom there. Rain is not far out. The question is how much rain, and you can see it kind of coming off in the distance right there, as you're going to see just outside of the track a live action footage of the rain actually on the way. So it's going to get interesting now. Is this going to stay around long enough for us to, of course, have to pit onto an intermediate compound tire? Is it going to be brief like it shows in the forecast that's approximate? Is it going to be light? Is it going to be heavy? We'll have to wait and see. We continue on though, and I was finding lap 3 as well through turns 1 and 2. This is where I'm really gaining a large chunk of time, but we lose time down the straightaways even when I have DRS. Hamilton right now has no DRS, so even when my car has the DRS against a car with none of it, I'm still struggling to close in on that car and make a move. So I have to really drain my battery. Now yellow flags behind us, and that's Frederick Vesti in the Williams Lamborghini, who's going to have a mechanical failure and an early end to his Chinese Grand Prix as his teammate Zhou Guanyu continues in P16 in his home Grand Prix. We've run down Hamilton into turn 1 to start lap 4. We're going to go for a move around the outside here of Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. Here we go, wheel to wheel through the left-hander. Can we pull this move off on the exit? We'll continue wheel to wheel now as Hamilton not going to quite make it easy, and that straight line speed that we're struggling oh so much for is going to hurt us right here. But hold on, we'll fight back into the braking zone, go around the outside again, and we'll get the power down and just clear Hamilton right there to take over the position. So up into P7, Charles Leclerc 1.8 seconds up the road, while my teammate Drugovich runs P5 right now. Jackson fourth with the two Mercedes of Russell and Norris between him and his teammate of Alex Albon. Albon won last episode in Jeddah. Was that his final win before he departs the McLaren team, going of course to Ferrari next season? A very questionable decision considering how many struggles Ferrari has had over these last couple of seasons. Remember, we do have regulation changes on the way. We have V10 engines coming next season as well. So I mean, we all, I think, can agree we want to see Ferrari succeed again in this career mode, but I just don't know. Albon is so quick, but I just don't even think he's going to be able to, make that change that Ferrari needs. If Hamilton and Verstappen couldn't do it over the course of 2 seasons, I don't think anybody could do it. So we continue on, and we're closing in on the cars in front. But now we had a change up front here that it went a bit unnoticed, but Alex Albon had been tumbling down the order. So Mercedes is now 1-2, Jackson's up to 3rd, and Albon's dropping down the order. And similar to last episode in Jeddah, Albon is having a loss of power. There's just a mechanical issue in that car right now that's just plummeting him down the order. And you can see, I mean, still, look at the straight line speed that these guys have on me right there. But we're still going to be able to go around the outside here and pass Albon. So he goes from leading to 7th within a lap or 2. And now we have run down Leclerc and Drugovich as well. That's for 5th and 4th place here. But the rain is closing. You can see the overcast skies now covering the circuit. A desperate lunge to the left side of Leclerc will go around the outside here. He's not going to make it easy just like Hamilton, but we're going to try and get clear on the exit of the corner. And as we come through the left-hander, we will get clear. Drugovich now is our next objective in that 4th position. The rain is coming, but we don't know how long it's going to be. That's the big question. We could come in for inters and then it be pointless because the rain only lasts a couple laps and then we screw ourselves that way. There's a lot of opportunity for things to go really weird here now with such a short time frame of rain here. But you can see even with the DRS against a teammate with no DRS, it's still really challenging to close in on him down that long back straightaway. Aiden Jackson's right now in a fight with George Russell, trying to pass him here as we continue to close in to Drugovich. However, lap 10 at this point. Now we're within half a second, just a few car lengths. Jackson had gotten past Russell up into 2nd. Of course, that's who we're chasing today, so we know we got to get on with it here because Jackson is right now faster than me. So down into turn 1, lap 11, we're going to lunge it from a few car lengths back to the left side of Felipe Drugovich there, our Brazilian teammate, heading to his home Grand Prix in that next episode last season. His first career win came in that season finale in Brazil. We continue wheel to wheel with Drugovich, who's not going to make it easy, and we don't forget have a championship fight on our hands. We'll dive up the inside here. We continue wheel to wheel, but Drugovich, he's not going to give it to us. We continue on towards the S's section. Look at the straight line speed, but we pin him against the curb, and we're going to try and get clear. We will clear him into the right-hander, but hold on, we push wide. Contact right there. Drugovich gets into my right rear. We continue now and settle in behind him instead. Is he not aware of the situation here?
He is well aware. We are talking to him.
And you hear that right there. I mean, the team letting Drugovich understand what's at stake right here now as Jackson is driving away off in the sunset, or off in the overcast, as we again are going to go for the same move a lap later. It's now raining. The rain is coming down, so now it's about when is it going to be that turnover point here as we continue wheel to wheel with Drugovich again, and again he's going to get clear, but hold on, we know exactly the situation. We have to pass him, so we're going to absolutely lunge it into the right-hander. This time we'll clear him immediately. I really sent it in there and just kind of forced myself clear as we are now looking at the AI. I was making my decision to pit based off what the AI do. So the AI will often, when it starts raining, I was getting told about nothing about the time frame of the rain, so I was thinking it's not going to last long, and I see immediately George Russell coming into the pit lane at the end of his normal pit window, which was also our pit window. So I decide, okay, the AI, usually if they think it's going to rain long enough, they stay out and stretch the run. Not seeing that here, so we're going to play it safe and pit with them as well. Or is this the safe option, or is maybe staying out the safe option? The rain is coming down as we as well get held for about an extra second and a half or so for Max Verstappen in the Ferrari, but we'll exit back onto the racetrack just in front of Charles Leclerc, and we are 4 seconds behind George Russell here when we come out of the pit lane. But the question is, did we just make the right call, or did we just make the wrong call? We're going to ask Mark and see if he has another update on the rain, and see, because he was giving me no time frame, and now there it is. 10 more minutes of rain. I just screwed myself by pitting, and I relied too much on other AIs right there. And as well, I seen at the end of this lap, nobody else is pitting. So that, of course, basically confirms that everybody that hasn't pitted is now going to stretch out the run until it's wet enough to get onto an intermediate tire. So we have to drive as hard as we possibly can. Right here, yellow flag in front of us actually, and that's Lewis Hamilton, and the Ferrari actually went off circuit, but he got it regrouped pretty quick, so he's back on track and rolling now. But Russell right to the back of Yuri Vips. We have to drive extremely quick and as hard as we can now, and a bit of a moment there for Russell. We'll pass him, thank you very much, and we'll get past Yuri Vips here down the straightaway. But look at that, even a Lotus right now is able to compete with me in straight line speed without DRS. I mean, it's just embarrassing how slow this car right now is compared to the AI in a straight line. But we were absolutely flying. An aggressive move up the inside of Hamilton there. I'm sure he did not appreciate that, but we continue on. The gap is coming down quickly to Drugovich, to Hamilton, but now you see this. The track is getting wet, so now we are going to have to come into the pits here for the set of inters. Now, fortunately for me, everybody in front of us has stayed out. Drugovich has stayed out. Jackson, Norris as well, the leader. So we're going to come into the box. You see the spray now coming off the front wheels. We go a little bit wide there, but we're fine. We don't get any warnings for that, and we're the only one to come in right now for a set of intermediate compound tires. So we'll come in for the intermediates. We gained a large chunk of time after screwing up, making that pit stop. However, the question is, are we gaining enough time to get ourselves back in this fight? It is going to dry up again. So we got on these inters, and immediately we are flying here compared to these drivers on the dry compound tires. So Norris, Jackson specifically losing time, but they are coming in at the end of the next lap here, lap 16. So we've got one lap to make up as much time as we can, and we do know, well, the thing we've been strong for so long in this F1 career mode is our performance, our pace in the wet weather. So we really got to get after it. They would exit still comfortably in front of us here now, and you can see there's still cars in front of us on dry tires. Kelly Mayer, Alex Albon, as the DRS is now going to get disabled, but you can see Drugovich up there on the track map, and then Jackson as we officially cycle through the pit cycle on to a wet compound tire, the intermediate to be specifically. The gap to Jackson is 9.9 so seconds. So we've gained time over the pit stop mistake and going on to the inters as well. But we have just over 10 laps to go, and now 10 to be exact. Let's go through the grid.
Lando Norris leads, but the focus, of course, is on Aiden Jackson and Gary Owen. Owen continues to play catch-up after the strategy mishap that many teams also made.
Owen has good pace, but not great. He is closing in on Jackson and Drugovich, but not enough to get to them. However, the rain is letting up Crofty, so there is potential for them to gain more time depending on when they stop for dry tyres.
Ted, what can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, I can say that the rain is certainly letting up already, and I think the pit lane will get interesting over the next 3 to 5 laps or so. Owen needs to find something and find it quick, as Jackson has had a smooth race. He's just hanging on now as Owen tries to chase him down.
How about Yuri Vips in the Lotus? We know that Ferrari are now wanting him or Kelly Mayer, and he is having a great run today.
Mayer runs down in 13th. I think who gets the ride at Ferrari will all come down to what happens next week in the Brazil finale. Max Verstappen, in his return from injury, currently runs in 10th place. Both him and Hamilton will depart F1 at the end of this season.
What a career both of those two drivers have had. It will be a shame to not have them on the grid next year.
It is becoming apparent that we might have just thrown, choked, lost the championship because we made a pit stop that just did not need to happen. Just a mistake there, relying on the AI around us. And you can see the gap is coming down to the cars in front. Jackson 8.4 ahead, Drugovich 6.2. We are continuing to close in on them lap after lap, and the rain is already letting up, and it's not going to be long. It's going to be very quickly. It's going to be time. Lap 21, DRS is enabled, so 9 laps to go. The gap continues to come down. It's 8 seconds now to Aiden Jackson. I wanted to keep raining, to be honest, but obviously that's not going to be the case. So at the end of this lap, DRS enabled. Basically, that's your indicator to come in and put on the dry compound tire, and you can see just how quickly the track's drying. At the end of this lap, nobody in front of us pits. The gap 7.8 seconds to Aiden Jackson. So now here's another opportunity to gain a good chunk of time. We're going to head into the pit entry. They're definitely going to be pitting at the end of this next lap, so we have to have an incredible lap here as we head down into the pit box for the 3rd time this episode. In this Grand Prix, we go onto a brand new fresh set of soft compound rubber, and we'll exit back onto the track here, and we are currently in P10 behind Albon, Verstappen as well, and you can see the gap about 2.8 seconds. We were absolutely flying on this dry compound tire, however, and we would close right up to the back of these guys, and we got to get aggressive now. We're gonna make a huge lunge up the inside and just basically slide in between Albon as well as Verstappen, Jack Doohan just in front, and now we are just slipping through on everybody. But now the leaders are in, Norris as well as Jackson and Drugovich. We drag race with the Connor Sport into the braking zone. Hamilton and as well Charles Leclerc, they're just creeping through here, but you can already see that as we come to the turn 1, the cycle through will pass Drugovich, but Jackson still out in front, but 2.8 seconds, 2.6 seconds. We're going to continue to gain for the first part of this lap, but we need to get within the DRS. That's the big thing. Get within 1 second, 1.6 seconds, 1.5. The chase is on. A championship on the line right here. Whoever beats who is going to determine everything. If Jackson's ahead, he wins the title. If we're ahead of Jackson, we send it into the finale in Brazil. We've made a crucial pit stop error that's changed everything in favor of Jackson, and although he's on mediums while we're on softs, the favor remains in his court here. Down the straightaways, he's absolutely dominating my pace. 1.7 seconds. We close it up through turns 1 and 2 and 3 every single time. 1.5 seconds. Just continue to watch this gap here. 1.4. Then it's going to go down to 1.3. We're going to dip it nearly into 1.2 second range as well. But it doesn't matter because down the straight line, I'm getting destroyed by Jackson, and he just opens up the gap. We keep it to about 1.2, 1.3. 5 seconds to the race leader of Lando Norris, who's cruising to victory. But at the end of the straightaway, every time, 1.5, 1.6 seconds now. It's just impossible to get within range of DRS, and if we can't get in DRS, it's not going to happen. 4 laps to go, a purple Sector 1, giving it absolutely everything I have as Albon comes through to set the quickest lap of the Grand Prix. Yellow flags ahead on lap 25, and it's not Jackson, unfortunately. It's going to be the leader, Lando Norris, out of the Grand Prix after dominating the last 3 quarters of this race, and now it's a race for a win. We have been forced into a must-win scenario to keep the championship alive, and I don't think it's going to happen now as we continue to chase down Aiden Jackson, who leads by 1.3 seconds, but again, down the straightaway, he would open up that gap as we are now 1.4 back, and Drugovich absolutely flying behind us. I got nothing. I'm giving it everything I have, and this is all I got.
Just keep pushing. Anything can happen here.
Anything can happen here is exactly what we need to happen now. Jackson needs to have an issue. He has had such a flawless season. Consistency. No mechanical failures for Jackson, while we've had 3 mechanical failures. That's made all the difference in this moment right here, and unfortunately it looks like at this point it's not going to be enough. Esteban Ocon goes a lap down in the BMW. Although the mechanical failures of course played their role, that wasn't exactly what took us out of contention today. The white flag is in the air here from China. 1.6 seconds the gap. What took us out of contention today was the failed pit stop strategy on the very first and opening moments of, you know, the rain hitting the circuit. That was where we lost it all here, unfortunately, and Jackson continues to manage the gap, and I've got absolutely nothing, really giving it everything I have, but it's not going to be enough now. 1.9 seconds the gap. Aiden Jackson, a flawless season, as he's now at 6 wins, trying to make it 7 now, as he would tie myself as we head down this long back straightaway for the final time. I got no battery, I got no straight line speed, and now Drugovich as well is going to come through, and if we could have just gained a few tenths to get in the DRS on Jackson, everything could have changed. And I look back at that battle we had as well with Drugovich earlier, as maybe that could have been a difference maker as well, but it's not going to be enough. Another season, another failure. Aiden Jackson is now a Formula 1 world champion with the win in the Chinese Grand Prix as we cross the line to finish 3rd.
I'm sorry, Gary. It wasn't meant to be this year again. We still have a title to fight for next week. Keep your head up. Next year is the year.
We win as a team, we lose as a team. It is what it is. We gave it our all. Thank you, guys.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close, and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. That's a spectacular victory, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today.
I feel like I owe you guys an apology for screwing that one up on the strategy. I thought we were making the right call, you know, with looking at the forecast. Light rain, 1 weather slot only, and Mark on the radio before we pitted was not even mentioning a time frame for the rain, and the car in front of me comes into the pit for another set of dries, and the cars behind me are coming in for dries. I felt like, I was like, okay, we should be okay to do this strategy, and then obviously it was completely wrong. So yeah, another season. This is the season we're always going to look back at for the foreseeable future as to what could have been. 7 wins going into the season finale next episode, and we're not going to win a championship because the other guy right there with 7 wins had a bit more consistency, had a bit more luck when it came to mechanical, no failures for him, and he is going to win the championship, unfortunately for us. Aiden Jackson went from winless last season to turning it around, dominating his teammate of Alex Albon, winning 7 races in a championship now as well, and has a chance to win an 8th next episode, but I would like to do that instead. We still do have a championship to fight for. Yuri Vips in P6, by the way, while Mare is P11. That is not going to look good for her in the fight for the Ferrari seat. Verstappen in his return, P9. He has 1 more race under his belt at Ferrari, and same for Lewis Hamilton. We have a Constructors' Championship to fight for next episode. That's the last title fight. 19 points advantage into Brazil. That's going to be a fun one. Red Bull versus McLaren. I'll see you guys then for the season finale. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.